The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Power Trading Hour with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now, David White.
All right, sweethearts, what are you waiting for? Breakfast in bed? Another glorious day in the Corps. Day in the Marine Corps is like a day on the farm. Every meal's a banquet. Every paycheck a fortune. Every formation a parade. I love the Corps.
Well, I'm sorry that I missed yesterday because I would have played that for the Marines amongst us. But I've got a few more things to play here for Veterans Day, too. But we'll get to it. Anyway, welcome all to another exciting edition of the Power Trading Hour with me, your humble, lovable, squeezably soft host. And once more, we go into the breach, dear friends, and we shall continue on. Anyway, what else do we have going on out here? And that is, we'll check in with the markets here. Although they've been rather quiet today, there is a reason. We'll get into that. But we're off 2.5 points on the S&P cash. Markets have kind of gone sideways for the last day or two. Volume really falls out when we go about above 2081 or 2. Not exactly sure why it would fall off kind of there, but it certainly, you can watch the volumes on the smaller time frame charts and the bigger ETFs, and you can just see the volume falls off. No one's really interested in buying highs out here. Every time the market pulls back 5 points, they think they're buying something, and then it gets up here and, of course, finds no buyers. Looking at options, they are telling me that this market is weak. It's not the kind of week where the wheels fall off the wagon, but I could certainly see that we see 2050 on the S&P cash, which is, 30 points down, maybe 35 points down. Maybe there's more. But right now, option market makers are just saying that this market wants to drift lower into expiration a week from Friday. And it's time for me to sit on my hands with my short positions. And I think we're probably going to have a few little air pockets as we kind of gap down into Thanksgiving. One of the reasons is I start seeing a lot of stocks with tax selling in them. And the tax selling is, I don't know how you can say it, is concentrated, probably a great way to say it, in a handful of stocks that are doing rather poorly. And other than that, I don't think you can say too much more than that. Let's get this party started.
Then it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
On this day in 1993, the Wall Street Journal publishes a survey of 10 market pundits asking them when the bull market, now 1,127 days old, will end. Nearly everyone predicts a 10% decline by mid-1994, and famed market forecaster Joe Granville declares that the Dow will drop about 2,900 points by the spring of 1994. By March 1994, the Dow was at 3,800. So what can we tell about this? First of all, Joe Granville, a lot of people really haven't looked at his overall record. He made a ton of money being short in the early 80s and then proceeded to be what is known as a perma bear. He never could get off of it, not for a week, not for a day. The end was coming. It was easy to sell. For me, I believe rationally optimistic. It is hard for me to see markets that are continually very expensive and to see markets that I can go long in, just because we see so many stocks again today down 15, 20% as we walk in the door. We'll talk more about that today. But I'm neither a perma bull or a perma bear. I like buying stocks, especially inexpensive $2, $3, $4 stocks at bottoms in markets. And I love selling very expensive stocks short, and mostly by buying puts. on them at the highs. And if you're going to make asymmetrical trades, it's very hard to do either or not do either. And a lot of times you just spend up giving your money back like Joe Granville did for darn near 10 years. But people that have followed his newsletter, it's not that he had everything and every idea he had was bad, but he was able to make a absolutely huge ton of cash, and then over the next 10 years give 98% of it back. And that is not uncommon in Wall Street. There's a great saying, and I think it's James Wyckoff who said, if you wanted to fill a library with all the people that the stock market made rich, you could, and put their names in every book and fill them all up. But he says, generally, if you want to look at the people that the Wall Street made rich and kept rich, you could probably put it in a single book. And that's not uncommon. Anyway, as we get going on with additional news out here today, Neil Kashkari will be a new Fed president. He is replacing someone who is probably more dovish. And that will occur on December 31st, so it won't be part of the next decision. But my guess is that there is one more vote for raising rates sooner rather than later. He's been a frequent guest on financial infotainment TV from Bloomberg, CNBC, and Fox Business News. He was chosen by the regional bank's board of directors. And if, he used to be a director at PIMCO. He ran for governor of California. And Paul Krugman doesn't like him. But Paul Krugman is a socialist and a dope. And so I can't find any higher praise than having a worthless, spineless skunk like Paul Krugman calling you out. Anyway, if you didn't get it, Paul Krugman is a dope. Anyway, other things going on today. Apple was off earlier in the day. I haven't looked at it in the last few minutes. Let's take a look. Still, and it's off 12 cents, up 14 cents. But still down about $3 over the last few days. I think a lot of people started looking at the suppliers in the Apple food chain, start seeing that they were ordering lower parts counts, and most people are figuring that that exactly means lower iPhone sales going forward. Today, of course, they're rolling out the iPad Pro. This is a giant tablet. It is not that it's a bad tablet. It's probably that it is extremely expensive, and there is a very finite target market for this. Probably the biggest market for them is something they haven't talked about yet, and that is the deals that they made with IBM and the idea that they're going to get into the medical business and replace all those nice clipboards you see on the end of everybody's bed with a iPad Pro. The problem is that this thing is, in comparison to other hardware, probably twice as expensive. It does not have a very fast processor. The reviews coming in, even from Walt Mossberg, who I consider the East German judge when it comes to anything in Apple, he couldn't muster up even a appearance of thinking that this was a great product. It's large, it's heavy, everything that everybody wanted from a tablet, which was it was light and small, comes to it. And like I said, I don't think it's a bad product, but when you compare it to Microsoft's products for similar prices, you're talking about processors that are 4 to 8 times faster, a lot more memory. The one very interesting thing is, of course, its application to people in the graphics market. But at the same time, a lot of those people already have things dedicated. And really, if you're in the graphics, are you drawing art somewhere in a some offsite spot? Or are you really sitting there working with a lot of stuff that goes into the newspaper or the magazine tonight? The answer is really the latter. There's not a lot of I'll be roaming around doing art kind of stuff. You know, you got your easel at home. Maybe you take your easel out and do a tree or a bridge or something. But that's kind of like a New York thing, isn't it? How many people have you seen with an easel out next to the side of the road painting a horse? It just doesn't happen. They take a picture, they go in where it's nice and cool, and of course, air conditioned, and do their art there. So can IBM and Apple put something together? It is very unclear now. And especially with politics becoming a big issue in the next year, I'm very unsure whether they can start selling these $1,500 tablets out there. Of course, a lot of people talking about their cover keyboard as being incredibly poor quality and nothing that is worth Apple as the moment. Again, you know, Tim Cook was out there saying the PC's dead. A lot of the kind of brouhaha that people spout that is just outright propaganda. It's now, I think the Intel guy, Andy Grove, has counted somewhere around 20 times that people said the PC's dead. I don't know how I could do without it. I certainly couldn't use a tablet all day. If all I was doing was staring at various stock prices, maybe, but I'm not. I'm looking at charts. I'm interacting with charts. I'm writing 2 newsletters a week, actually 5 newsletters, and plus a weekly newsletter, plus answering emails and everything else. It just does not make a lot of sense. But Tim Cook is pretty much committed to drinking the Kool-Aid and pushing global warming fraud. But other than that, he's a swell guy. But that's it. I think if you just look at the reviews today, the worm has totally turned for Apple, where probably even a year ago it could do no wrong. It has been probably the last 3 or 4 months they can do no right. And when the media makes you, they can unmake you. And right now the media is kind of unmaking the illusion that Apple was always the company everybody thought it was. They were extremely good, especially Steve Jobs, incredibly good at manipulating the media. And of course, one of the first guys they had, I think employee number 12 or 13 at Apple, was Guy Kawasaki. His entire mission there was to figure out how to use propaganda and other folks to make Apple a great company, a big company. And I see no change from that. The problem is you can tell a fairly innocuous stretcher, but when it comes out to the all-out lie and then the media calls you on it, you know the things have turned, and that's what's happened today for Apple. We will be back in a minute.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video, giving you crisp crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com. Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Biotech is booming, but for how long? Whether you think the biotech bull has room to run or has run its course, trade LABU or LABD. Directions Daily S&P Biotech 3 times bull and bear ETFs. Visit directioninvestments.com/biotech today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. Dave takes your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
I am Gunnery Sergeant Hartman, your senior drill instructor. From now on, you will speak only when spoken to. And the first and last words out of your filthy sewers will be, sir. Do you maggots understand that?
Sir, yes, sir.
Oh, Arlie Hammer, or not Hammer, Arlie Army. What a guy! If I was stuck in a foxhole, that's even at his age today, I would still want him over many people I know. He wouldn't do anything, would he? He would give as good as he got every time. Anyway, gotta love him. Oh, that's from Full Metal Jacket. So people are asking the damn what film was that from. Anyway, a great movie. We got a few more. Those are my fun ones. I've got a few more serious ones that we'll play before the end of the day from Band of Brothers. And many people know I grew up in Hawaii on Hickam Air Force Base. I rode my bike and put the fingers in the hangars, airplane hangars down there where Japan attacked on, of course, that fateful day. Of course, I was there in the 60s, and it was a fairly common occurrence to see an F-4 Phantom fly back in that was all shot up. And a lot of people, if they watched Top Gun, saw the F-4s, or not the F-4s, actually, it was a different plane. But in my day, it was the F-4 Phantoms that would buzz the tower and actually buzz the Air Force section of Hickam Air Force Base. and blow the windows out. I remember that my dad had bought a 1963 or 1964 Cadillac from someone that had to leave the country. So we had this big old Cadillac, and you could only drive it about 10 miles. There's not very far to go in Hawaii, by the way. And the tires all wear out almost instantly. Everybody uses retreads there because the tires wear out so quickly. But most interesting to me, of course, was all those pilots that really didn't care that were coming back and more than willing to buzz the tower and our neighborhood and blow out windows rather regularly. And, of course, the base commander would yell and scream, and the pilots would say, what are you going to do, not send me back to Vietnam, where I will probably get shot at again? A lot of it. But I saw a lot of that going on. I saw a lot of people that lived on the air base move away. Their fathers never to come home. And it always struck me then the cost of a military. And, of course, since day one immemorial, since it's been written down, the world has been dictated by the aggressive use of force and why we need to have a strong military all the time. History has always said when we've had a weak military, war and big wars have followed. So it's one of these days. Of course, crude numbers not out today. They will be out tomorrow. API numbers out last night showed a big build. And, of course, crude back under $43 today. If the numbers in the EIAs that come out tomorrow at 10:30, I think, continue that, I think we could certainly see the next level down into the $38 level for crude. Tomorrow will be a big number for that. What else do we have out here? Oh, retail continued down. If you haven't been living in a cave, we've got Macy's off 14% today. And it's just tough to actually see that anybody else thinks that anything's going to get better in this space anytime soon. What has happened is less and less stores have gone into malls, less reason for people to go there. Every time someone buys something on Amazon, that's one less trip to the mall where they may buy things that they never thought that they would have before. And to me, it just looks like it's slowly spinning down. There will probably still be a handful of malls where people want to go in and look at stuff. But I think I could see that in the next few years, half the malls that are open today could be closed. And, of course, especially when you have some of these bigger places, the anchor stores like JCPenney's. JCPenney may be gone in a year or two. Macy's probably not. But what does it do to these big malls to lose a JCPenney or some of the other big anchor stores out there? I think we continue to see the beginning and probably the middle of the end for a lot of these big retailers. Alibaba was out with news this morning, yelling and screaming about the wonderful big deal going on, which is they sold all this stuff for Singles Day over in China. And, of course, what did it do? It went down 2%. And the reason why? Trust. We'll talk more about that when we come back, along with one of the most interesting quotes from the real people that were there in Bands of Brothers. I think it's Dick Wilson. Dick Wilson, I think. We'll be back.
The Path of Least Resistance is David White's daily trading newsletter, and if you're looking for active trading ideas, then now's a perfect time for a 30-day free trial to this powerful daily trading advisory service. David uses his years of trading experience to offer his subscribers his trading ideas each morning in his Path of Least Resistance newsletter. Using a combination of equity trades along with options, David keeps his subscribers up to date with all pertinent market information with intraday afternoon updates when warranted. Don't miss out on this great chance to get a 30-day free trial to David's daily newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, with no obligation to pay anything. David has been delivering solid recommendations for his subscribers recently, and if you'd like to see the type of newsletter he delivers every morning, then visit the front page of TFNN and you'll find The Path of Least Resistance under Trading Newsletters. For all the details and to start your 30-day free trial today, log on to TFNN.com now. Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock and option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.
If you're looking for a great opportunity to diversify your financial portfolio and hedge against the falling stock market, consider the new Market Safe Metals Hedge CD from Everbank. This 5-year indexed U.S. dollar-denominated CD gives you exposure to metals with gold and silver components and allows you to hedge against falling equities with a short component on the SPY ETF. You can earn up to 45% capped upside payment at maturity if gold and silver increase in value and the SPY ETF decreases across annual pricing dates. And should the opposite occur, your principal is 100% protected. Keep in mind, returns are based on CD performance. There is no annual percentage yield or periodic rate of interest on the CD. Don't let fallen markets get you down. Get the Metals Hedge CD. The November 12th funding deadline is quickly approaching, so hurry over to everbank.com/TFNN for the CD's term sheet and other important product details and disclosures. Once again, that's everbank.com/TFNN. This is sponsored content. Everbank is a member FDIC.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Henry V was talking to his men. He said, from this day to the ending of the world, we in it shall be remembered. We lucky few, we band of brothers. For he who today sheds his blood with me shall be my brother.
And anyway, we were talking about Alibaba when we left. Had a couple questions in the den. And that is, can Alibaba be engineered to a higher price? The answer is yes. But I think once everybody saw Jim Chanos call them out and basically say no one can believe anything that you read for a accounting of the books over there, can believe on anything. In fact, I heard several people call out that's the reason why Alibaba was down today is, they can say anything. No one's ever going to get the right story. Can the stock still go higher? The answer is yes. Who knows what the truth is, though, and why I will never be investing, at least until something radically changes in China, in a Chinese company. I just know that any day you could wake up and suddenly see huge amounts of turmoil from a house of cards built to what it is. But, looking at Jim Chanos's arguments on this company, he's basically making the same kind of argument that they made against, and what was the New York hedge fund guy that was total fraud? Maybe someone will put it in the den. But I remember if the 60 Minutes piece where they were talking about him, and the guy that basically figured it out went to the SEC and said, the chances that he's making these returns are the exact same odds that a baseball player would be able to bet 950 every year. And of course, we know nobody's batted 950 every year. And he said he just doesn't pass the smell test, and that's what Jim Chanos has said. Yeah, I'm just having a blank. Not Mathau. Oh, boy, it'll drive me nuts here for a while. Anyway, Chanos is making a statistical argument that the books are phony, and the question is just how phony. Even Chanos, on some of his interviews about shorting Enron, said that he didn't know until the stock had hit about 75, and he was thinking he'd made all his money, that everything came out, that he knew something was wrong. He didn't know that it was a total fraud. He knew that they probably had stretched the truth a great deal, but were not outright made off. Thank you all. But anyway, that is Chanos's deal. I would not be buying it just on that, because he's been a lot more right than he has been wrong. And again, I just don't know how you give Chinese money and expect anything back. I will paraphrase J.P. O'Rourke and say that giving your cash to the Chinese is like giving a bottle of wild turkey and the car keys to a 16-year-old boy. It is the equivalent. And that is it. We're going to get to charts here fairly quickly. Where are my charts? I'm going to find my charts. Here they come. Anyway, I've been working on something. I want to thank Steve Rhodes for putting a bug in my ear last week. Yesterday, I had probably one of the worst and most severe cases of now I'm having mental blanks. I think I must have had a stroke too, of just a reaction to mold spores in the air, which were really horrible over the weekend. We got enough rain. The temperature was about right. And my head was busting, just throbbing like people say that they have migraine headaches. I had one day of that. It was very tough to figure out. Yeah, I know. It's catching up to all of us, isn't it? We all go out the same way. I guess they can say that. Anyway, wanted to look at some charts. We'll look at BABA real quick. In fact, a lot of people I know down here in Florida all get headaches because we get the temperature's just about right, about 70 degrees for mold spores to grow down here. And I don't have real bad allergies to a lot of things, but the mold spores can get me down. Anyway, we had some decent volume as went back to the high in Alibaba. But for me, it is very hard to figure out anything other than there was a lot of short covering back up to 85. It went to that level. It couldn't hold it. So we're probably in this upper area. I've been trying to figure out where Jim Chanos actually was short Alibaba to figure this out. But his plays normally take 6 months to a year to 2 years before he collects his cash. He's not in it for the next 5 minutes or the next 5 days or even the next 5 months. So we'll continue to keep an eye on this, but not a whole lot. Had a question in the den about living in Hawaii, and the one thing that I always remember was that if I stood on the doghouse, which actually held some small rodent-like creatures that were our pets, but it was a existing doghouse in the backyard. If I stood on the doghouse, I could look over the fence and see the Arizona Memorial in the bay. And at that time, I think it was 1963, they just cut the superstructure off, and in the next year or two, it put the memorial on, if you've ever been there. But somewhere, I don't know if that housing's still there. I haven't been there since 1993. Kind of an interesting thing. But it was always interesting to live there because people probably don't, it probably doesn't happen anymore, but it was still happening in the 60s. And that was that if we had a big storm in the Pacific, it would still rock the ships in the bay, the sunk ships, even the Arizona, and shells would still go off, and you'd hear this big rolling kind of explosions. Sounded like thunder, and it wasn't thunder. It was shells still going off in those ships. And of course, anytime you got rough weather, there was still lots of oil in those ships, and it would gunk up the shoreline. So there was no real swimming in Pearl Harbor. It was all over on Waikiki Beach. And there was another beach, I can't remember the name of it, that we went to a lot. It was a black sand beach, but I digress. Anyway, Alibaba, you got a little bit more volume you got yesterday. We're back into a gap where this thing kind of gapped up. My guess is that we pretty much saw that high right into when Chanos was announcing his short. So my guess is that a lot of those days on the days up, you could probably, when we look back at it, we'll see that the short interest probably went up 2, 3, 4%. That's probably what we'll see in Jim Chanos's position out here. Other things, let's take a quick look at Rackspace. They had earnings. Numbers were pretty good, but everybody's looking forward to next year and not looking very forward or far forward to it. You've got kind of a little reversal as this thing spiked into earnings yesterday, but pulling back on lighter volume. Now, one of the things we haven't talked about is Oracle. And I wanted to bring this up, ORCL, because the news broke on this yesterday, so I didn't get to really talk about it. But they've been quietly working at a killer for cloud services to go after Microsoft and Google and Amazon. They're calling it an Amazon killer, but it is still some 6 months away. And that, I think, broke last night or yesterday afternoon. Everybody started looking at what it truly meant, but it probably means another 6 months before Oracle comes back with any kind of big new business that really changes stuff. They have a good and existing base out here in that August 24 low with 32 million shares, got tested with 21 million shares. It was a dime higher. I'm going to give it to them since it was 10 million, almost 11 million shares less on those lows. The energy actually fairly decent back up here, but my guess is we can see Oracle in this $35 to $40 range, even if the market pulls back into next year. But look for probably mid-summer for them to release this, and it's unclear whether they truly have a product that is a killer to Amazon and Google. But I would not be surprised that they've jumped maybe a definition of what makes online web services. And by that, I mean, if you build anything, if you start with a car today, if you gave anybody something other than a steering wheel, they wouldn't really know what to do with it, and they'd act all freaked out. Unfortunately, that means that there isn't a lot of innovation other than adding buttons to a steering wheel. But in web services, there can be a lot of features that could be added that were very tough to use now or don't exist at all because of the way that the basically online cloud services developed. And the question is whether or not they're going to leapfrog maybe the next level of technology. That's at least what Oracle is saying inside. Down today, a little volume, mostly on the idea that that is not ready and won't be ready until the next 2 quarters. So I'm probably looking at maybe seeing this thing introduced in May next year, and maybe the first dollars to actually roll in on it maybe into next fall. Of course, a huge database company, my guess is that they're going to link a lot of the features of databases directly into cloud services. Instead of a separate component, it will be a database that is just a website, and the two things are actually the same product, and you really don't have to have one product, a kind of a database with all kinds of things, trying to figure out what your customers are doing, and a website. It's probably going to be one holistic approach to all of that. Okay. Just looking at news out here. Someone finally got to me. Bernie Madoff, yes. I just, for some reason, I continue to forget his name from time to time. Maybe because I'm trying to forget it, and it just keeps coming back up. Anyway, Oracle out there with news. Just seeing if there's anything else real quickly I wanted to look at, and let's check volume in the S&P. Now we're off 2.5 points on the S&P cash. Probably one of the most bearish things for the next 6 trading days or 7 trading days after today's close would be a close back below 2075. That would probably jive with what I'm seeing, and that is a move slower down, maybe not much lower, but lower. And again, it's going to be very hard for me to see this market go any higher into the beginning of December. But at that point, I suspect a lot of tax selling would be over, and maybe we're going to get a little gentle Christmas rally in some of these stocks that have really just been sold out, and you just don't have any sellers left, which does happen a lot in this tax selling season. We haven't had tax selling really since probably 2007 and 8. By that time, it had pretty much over. So I know that there's probably a whole generation of traders that have not been in a market that has seen tax selling going into the end of the year on a down year. But we'll look at more of that. Other things going on out here. Take a quick look. Stocks going up. GIB. CIG Group. Nice little pop out here. Better than expected earnings. It's just gotten up to its high from November 4th, though. And the volume on this thing, about what that high was. Maybe we'll do a little bit more, but it couldn't get over that high either. What else do we have? Tyco is up 2%. And of course, the big multinational company, it's kind of back over its previous high out here that happened on September 17th at $37.02. This above it, it does have volume. The next layer of resistance comes just a buck higher at $38.50 for Tyco. Apache, of course, we've been talking about it. I didn't really follow Apache this well. We have followed EMC, and we knew that that was kind of all smoke and mirrors, or as some people say, bovine excrement. Apache is down when we found out that none of this was true, and it was all made up. Speaking of EMC, let's see what this thing has done out here in the last couple of days. Well, kind of bouncing back around where the phony report that Dell was going to buy it didn't come out. And I think it was Recode or maybe one of those other magazines that dug into the tax implementation of this actually happening, Dell buying EMC. And they said, guess what? It would cost Dell billions in taxes right off the bat. It made absolutely no sense. The question is, did Dell do a solid for one of his friends on Wall Street? Was this always just smoke and mirrors? Inquiring minds want to know. We'll be back in a minute.
TFNN is excited to offer a brand new piece of market scanning software unlike anything the industry has ever seen. John Logan and his team have spent years developing their market profile tools to finally be able to release the TAS Profile Scanner Plus. And right now you can get a 2-week trial absolutely free just by visiting TFNN.com and providing us your name and email address. The TAS Profile Scanner Plus is the premier market profile based scanner in the industry. Powered by the acclaimed TAS proprietary algorithms, this feature-rich scanner is a standalone desktop software that instantly filters over 2,500 global financial markets such as stocks, ETFs, commodity futures, and Forex. Within 3 minutes of signing up, you can have the software downloaded and running on your computer with a complete roadmap of market indicators and inflection points to trade off using the TAS Profile Scanner Plus. Sign up today and try this amazing piece of software by visiting TFNN.com.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Trader's Edge heard daily at TFNN.com and author of Mastering Probability, a daily investment and trading newsletter service that I send out each morning by 8 a.m. My morning newsletter service covers exactly what the markets have been doing since last night's close, providing you with an edge on your trading day ahead. You get actionable trading ideas, including the exact entry, stop, and profit targets. Plus, I'll teach you the patterns and hidden market correlations that will make you a better trader. As a subscriber, you'll gain access to my 90-minute money management workshop, where I'll teach you the secrets that'll save your assets. The bottom line, I've got your back, including a 30-day money-back guarantee. See for yourself the type of analysis I provide each trading day by signing up for Mastering Probability today. With nothing to lose, this is an offer you should not pass on. Mastering Probability can be found under Trading Newsletters on the front page of TFNN.com.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
I cherish the memories of a question my grandson asked me the other day when he said, "Grandpa, were you a hero in the war?" Grandpa said no. But I served in a company of heroes.
Well, happy Veterans Day to all those veterans. As I said yesterday, sorry I didn't make it for the Marines' birthday, but at least I'm here for Veterans Day. And I hope everybody's doing well. We were talking just before the break of what is going on out here, but I tell you what, either there's a big problem with Michael Dell, and he didn't research it, but it looks to me like it never, ever existed. Of course, we know that there was zero contact to anybody on Apache. And a lot of people may just be using this as a good way to get out of their positions and make a market for it. I often recommend reading Reminiscence of a Stock Operator. And there's a great story where Jesse Livermore is stuck. I can't remember what it was in. It was like corn or wheat. I think he was stuck in wheat. and he couldn't get out of it, and everybody knew he was short it, and they were kept moving it up. So he blew out a bunch of wheat, and everybody thought, somebody knows something. And suddenly the price of corn came down or wheat came down, and he was able to get out of it by actually selling something that was like it, but not the same thing. He would have known, a lot of people would have been looking for the trick of selling what you have to try to get people thinking that it was moving down. But as a lot of people said, not a lot of people watching what's going on out here. The Apache deal, though, from what I've read, probably will generate an SEC investigation, and we will see what that happens. It's probably because Dell is not a public company. It will be harder to actually pin anything down, and maybe Dell was just doing a solid for one of the guys that's an investor in his company, or other people on the street, and maybe just get that paid back in spades when he goes public with Dell once again. I always thought it was a stupid idea, and we talked about it at the time. So I will say I informed you thusly on that. Other stocks out here, big lawsuit on one company. Before we get to that, I want to look at BSX. Boston Scientific had gone right up to its previous high, didn't have any volume into earnings. We've got that traded lower following action by Centers for America Medicare Medicaid service to limit coverage for appendage closure therapy, whatever that is. Looks like it's going to be a big deal. Other things of interest out here. I wanted to get to this one because I'm not unfamiliar with it, but it's HZN. Is it NP? NP. And this thing, it says it's off 20%. I guess it is. Pretty big haircut on Horizon Pharma. And it says, following a filing of a lawsuit by Express Scripts, which attempted to terminate its relationship with a specialty pharmaceutical company. I wonder if this is a spin-off of the whole other stuff going on in this market, but I haven't had a chance to look at it. Maybe these dubious companies out there, shadowy, kind of like Enron, will now have a lot more light put on them. In the meantime, sell when you can, not when you have to. We'll see you here tomorrow. Same bat channel, same bat time. Thank a veteran today.
Larry Pesavento has just started his brand new service, Fibonacci 24/7, and he's already delivering content to his subscribers on a daily basis when the market's opened and even on weekends. Each Monday, you'll receive Larry's written report that provides detailed commentary and a summary on the charts and videos that Larry sends out. And throughout the week, when warranted, Larry will send out via charts or videos or both the key markets that he is watching during the day. This will be up-to-the-date, active trading information that will help you in your daily trading. In Larry's first week alone, he sent out 25 charts, 6 videos, and a full report to his subscribers in just 1 week. If you're a technical trader that uses patterns and retracements to trade, then Larry's service Fibonacci 24/7 is something that you must try. Right now, new subscribers can get a full 30-day money-back guarantee. With nothing to risk, sign up now to Larry Pesavento's Fibonacci 24/7 by visiting the front page of TFNN.com under Trading Newsletters.
You're watching Tiger TV.